know, some of them have been complete washes, a lot of them back and forth, but interestingly enough, a Sorlag on both sides of the coin to start things off.
On Blood Covenant as well. Sorlag has almost sort of come straight back into being picked a lot more. And I think a big part of that might also just come down to just health pool. Sorlag's health is extremely high. And with the changes to some of these champions having a little bit less, if you now want a champion with 150 health, Sorlag is that champion.
But also, if you're running that mirror match, obviously let's not forget that passive coming into play, Sorlag being immune from acid damage. Generally in the game, that does include other Sorlags. So if we do find ourselves in a situation that it's going to be Sorlag versus Sorlag, that ability is going to be completely useless against herself, basically, the Sorg Flesh Trader.
But this is one huge thing that has really happened to Sorlag, because in many, many ways, because of the changes to Clutch, she has become the new tankiest champion in the game because she's got that natural 150 health, 100 armor. She's actually still quite mobile because of her bunny hop passive, where as long as you're bunny hopping, she will slowly accelerate. And I want to say shout out to that classic announcer that has returned in the latest update. A big fan of that one.
All right, so it looks like we are actually going to be starting off with Sorlag versus Sorlag. So the ability just not going to come into play for at least until this first frag.
Definitely not the kind of start that you see, obviously, with RAISY having a Anarchy and Ranger. Noctis with Anarchy and Nyx. You almost always see at least one of those champions going first because of their mobility, their ability to navigate around nice and freely.
Now, even though this is predicted to be a swift 2-0 for Noctis, let's not forget, NoFear has been having a really good day so far, so this could be the upset, but I think a lot of that is going to come down to how this first map goes down, because the first map has always set the pace for how the rest is going to be looking so far today. Can't expect this to be any different, especially if they're running a somewhat similar composition. Obviously, Noctis running with that Nyx and NoFear the Ranger instead, but still. The one edge there, and that was a couple of really, really nice rails, by the way, but even after those rails, you look at how heavily stacked Sorlag is as a champion. NoFear still looking super healthy. You would never have guessed he's just eaten 2 rails. I mean, that is, though, you pick Sorlag to be able to tank that kind of stuff, but obviously it just gives it a little bit longer to deal with.
Now, one element Noctis is likely to have in this matchup is that he has access to that Nyx, and Nyx can negate the ticking damage of the acid, which is something that NoFear will not be able to do. Even with the injection to put himself back up to healthy, it won't really stop the ticking.
Oh, that rail connected in, but you can see how much it just doesn't matter if you have that mega health. Oh, it's caught him there. See what's looking around. Oh, does eat a rail, returns itself. Still obviously shooting that acid, but unfortunately isn't going to be doing anything whatsoever. No damage whatsoever. But the first blood goes in the hand of Noctis this time. So that's actually something I wanted to touch upon. Both of these players run Anarchy, who is historically kind of just put first in whatever position he's in. But Sorlag was first for both of them. Do you think that is almost in prediction of the other guy going Anarchy, and obviously the acid just shredding him down completely?
It very much could have been, especially with the shred damage that Sorlag brings to the table. You can quite often look at an enemy champion lineup and go, well, I think he's going to go with this champion first. Pick yours accordingly, and you might put yourself into a favorable matchup. If you both have similar champions, you're both pretty much going to do the same thing. That was a really nice rocket. RAISY gets taken out. I mean, yeah, really wasn't much he could do to get around that one. The second that rocket did the damage it did, it's game over.
You see that 100 damage, you go in, follow up. Oh, well, trying to chase down with the rocket.
And that's it. That is a complete chain. LG, and that was a good round one. Very confident round one.
A lot of 7s, and just like that, we find ourselves a round on the board. Noctis looking super strong. I mean, this is what we expected to see. Whether we'll see it for the rest of the time, we'll find out soon. But, I mean, Noctis, what more is there to say? Looks very comfortable.
It's the Noctis we're familiar with. Sorlag pick. Both of them once more have gone in for Sorlag, and that's the one thing to think about. Between rounds, you're not locked to that first champion. You can change between rounds, and that means they both manually selected it. They both try and go in for the acid, and the initial damage, they trade acid for acid. You almost never see that happen.
I think that might be the first time I've actually seen a Sorlag die to any kind of acid damage whatsoever in the European side of this so far.
And they both died at the same time to the same thing. And actually from one mirror match to another, both of which on Anarchy. Even armor, even health. Not anymore now. Noctis has the heavy armor, but they're going to trade that for the Mega.
But also, yeah, but again, both of them going in for the Anarchy, so we find ourselves in this sort of mirror situation, 2 rounds back to back.
It does mean that if they both lose Anarchy, we will no longer be in that position because it'll be Ranger versus Nyx, but we'll see if it gets to that. We very well might be as the rockets come through. They both trade out their injections as well. That's the one. If Anarchy is able to survive, you also see this when Anarchy goes first, but if Anarchy is able to survive long enough to pop 6 injections, he goes into 81 hit points. And the second you reach 81 HP, you can start surviving 2 rails rather than 1 when you've got no armor.
But that does involve being alive with Anarchy for quite a considerable amount of time.
Exactly.
And with a 5-minute time limit, that's almost Anarchy for the entire time. So if you don't have Anarchy first things first, it's going to be even harder for you to sort of build up that health pool.
You definitely see
You
that.
walk into rockets like that, not just with the prediction.
You definitely see it a lot more in Sacrifice when Anarchy has like the entire free reign to run around and just build it up. But point blank, but misses that first rocket. That could have actually been a frag right there.
That's actually quite unfortunate for RAISY though. Even though he hit that sort of point blank rocket, only 36 damage, despite how close it seemed to be.
Noctis actually dangerously low on rockets. He only has 3. Have to try and collect that. Actually doesn't quite get it, but it's the regular rocket instead. Would have expected him to pick up the ammo box, but may not need to with it being so close. The regular rocket, I should say. Even though Anarchy is a fast, agile champion, historically good at running away and playing that defensive game. You would almost expect it to be complete aggression from Anarchy, but on the contrary, he can do quite the opposite.
Well, actually, Anarchy's kind of fallen out of favour really over the last couple of weeks, especially with almost like the rise of Clutch. We haven't seen as much of him, especially in the European side of the qualifying stages, but also means we haven't had to see him in quite a while sort of do this very hit and run, runaway style. But I know that's a phrase we use a lot for these smaller champions, but Anarchy really does just excel at getting in, doing a little bit of damage, and then getting away as fast as possible, especially if he has access to that injection.
RAISY's been consistently in trouble. Noctis going in for the chase because now he smells blood. We were just talking about hit and run style of being calm, calculated, patient. And that was a fantastic spawn, but telefragged to answer back. I mean, I was just about to say he caught a fantastic spawn there. However, Ranger did have a dire already.
I mean, RAISY was like seconds away, if that, from getting just a lead with that LG. I think we kind of definitely expected him to die there, but a clutch use of that dire orb is going to save him for sure. Now Noctis, after his last champion,
I mean, if that missed, he was dead.
the thing is, Noctis now knows that the dire orb isn't going to be up for a little while longer. Still has a very short cooldown, about 20 seconds or so, but still, when that is down, it's down.
Dire Orb does indeed have the lowest cooldown in the game, 20 seconds. Seeing as you're going to collect those hourglasses, I mean, you will collect an hourglass or 2 as it regenerates. It's never even going to be 20. It will always be less. Both down to their final champion. Once more.
These definitely would have heard that used as well. He's going to know the dire orb is down. If he can get a good shot, he'll be fine. Uses the ghost walk.
Is he going to wait patiently? Gets the rail, but it's not enough! He knows that the heavy machine gun damage is going to be more than sufficient.
Unfortunately, I think Noctis put himself in a really bad situation there by backing himself towards that heavy armor.
I feel like Noctis must have decided that his only option there was to kill with the railgun. And even though he landed
I mean,
the
he
rail,
landed the shot, he had more damage than necessary.
yeah, either he miscalculated the health or he just thought he had less than he did. But a direct 100 damage, but another acid kill.
I'm beginning to think that we weren't quite accurate when we said that the acid doesn't hurt sore legs.
Well, the tick damage doesn't apply, but I'm fairly certain the impact damage does.
Oh, hits him on the way up. That's a lot of LG damage coming through. A direct rocket.
He survives!
Wow, RAISY completely turning this one around. Noctis now put on the back foot straight away.
This has been an interesting start so far. I mean, in 30
things
seconds, they both lost their first champion.
Which is, again, I think it's really a testament to just how fast these rounds can be. You know, sometimes go down to the overtime, but still. Oh, wow, RAISY knows the machine gun is all he needs.
Exactly the same thing that happened in that previous round. It's just that this time it's not the round ender, I suppose. But Noctis down to that final champion again. RAISY's turned the tide here. He's really switched things around. That was looking like such a good round from Noctis. Almost to the point where we can say, well, could this even be a 3-0 because how good Noctis looked on the map.
But that's what I mean, though. What if RAISY takes this first map? So he can make a read. He's followed him.
But he follows a little bit too far, but not because it's Anarchy moving around. Those grounded rockets, very hard to land, and there we go.
Oh, RAISY, you could tell he knew that Noctis mustn't have had a lot of health left there and peeked round, but Noctis put that rocket down just in case he did. But still, though, one champion apiece.
Never to be underestimated, those defensive rockets. You walk into, I mean, if you walk into a rocket at a bad time, you're still going to take 100 damage whether you like it or not. If it's direct, obviously. Going into the ghost walk, but Noctis actually going out in the open, maybe mistiming the heavy or just expecting him to come down, but either way, 2 seconds and he's going to be right on there.
Yeah, there's no way he wouldn't have heard him pick that armor up. Question is RAISY waiting for him?
He's still there.
Oh, he was waiting. Oh, he always hit the mid-air, but we can see that Noctis super low on health, but isn't gonna matter as another rocket. Noctis is just getting the upper hand on these rocket trades every time.
That was a good comeback too. Very, very tidy comeback.
That's the sign of a player that's been around a while, though. You know, when you're used to that situation, like being down on champions, even in a new, like obviously that being a new thing in Quake Champions, even though it's still new, it's something that these guys will still have practice with by this point. You would imagine, especially after the 2 months they've had to play.
Switching things up a little bit. Looks like RAISY's going in for Anarchy first instead of Sorlag. Noctis staying true to his guns. This does mean if Noctis catches RAISY point blank, I mean, Anarchy, it's very rare that he's going to be able to survive an entire sequence of the acid spit combined with the rest of the weapons. Now he's taking a rail. He definitely didn't want to take, even with that injection, he still doesn't really have the health to take a rail. Has got it now, because he just picked up some armor. But before then, no way.
It's just the old situation of if you have to use your injection just to sort of keep yourself alive from eating a rail, that means you haven't got it for quite a while. The injection does have a significant amount of cooldown on it. Right now, though, Noctis. I mean, we haven't seen it much this time, but just when you can apply both the impact damage of the acid and the damage over time.
Wow, here comes Noctis.
If he can get a good hit on Anarchy here, that is just going to delete his health completely. It can be quite difficult to set up, especially against someone that mobile. That was a
really, really nice little turnaround from Noctis, actually. Before he even uses the jump pad, causes RAISY to try and follow through and chase him down, but he wasn't chasing anything. He just went into a jump pad and took a free rail.
Speaking of which, Mega Health is up now. Here we go, Noctis. We can see him picking up the heavy armor in retaliation.
Another trade. And the second the trade occurs, where they both have the same timer, that's really where you're going to have to make a decision. Do I go for the trade here? Do I try and give myself more health or armor? Or do I try and fight this and then take it from them? Ever so slightly missing that rail. No damage just yet.
Oh wow, a lot of rails coming through though this time.
He could still afford to take one more. He had 81 HP. He could have been killed by 4 rails.
As is the power of Sorlag, that raw health value.
Well, that's it. If you now want health, you go for Sorlag. And there we go. There is the shred that you talked about not just 1 minute ago. The second Anarchy gets caught out and he gets showered in that acid spit. I mean, he is dead.
And almost back already. In fact, it is. Wow, Noctis has it ready to go straight away.
A little bit of self-damage on that rocket jump. Not going to matter too much, though. Now we're back to the traditional. We've seen it throughout the entire map. 2 Sorlags.
Oh, wow. Oh, rocket jumps close. Actually, just rocket jumps clean over, just trying to go for the heavy armor.
The rocket jump did actually allow Noctis to go towards the heavy armor and guarantee it before RAISY can even get there.
Almost like the juking there, though, left to right, just trying to dodge those rockets while Noctis was trying to pepper him down with some LG.
Well, like many of the large tanky champions, Sorlag has got a significantly larger hitbox than most.
Does mean you're going to have to do a little bit extra work just to juke through to make sure you're not that easy to hit, but still. As the further this round goes through, we see Noctis, even though it is 1 champion lead, it is enough to make this clock work to his favor. 2 minutes left to go.
We're seeing Noctis consistently go for that wall shot on the rocket jump to just give himself that massive boost of speed. If they're both going to be playing as Sorlag, it's just going to complement the bunny hop passive. And if Noctis is the one that's given himself the speed boost, he knows he's going to outrun the other Sorlag because there's no way RAISY was going at the same speed. And there we go. Wow! Big rocket, 3 HP! No wonder Noctis stayed around. All he needed was 1 more rocket in that situation, but RAISY with a fantastic placement.
He's still alive though, and we find ourselves swapped around. So now RAISY has the Sorlag versus the Anarchy. Now it's going to be Noctis that has to watch out not to get caught out by those acids.
A complete change, a reverse of what we saw before. But Noctis is going to be aware. If you're fighting against the composition but playing it yourself, you're going to know the weaknesses. Noctis is going to do everything he can to avoid that situation, but 1 rail, he's in big trouble now. Using the jump pad, catches another. Noctis still alive.
RAISY's accuracy on this railgun has been ridiculous so far. Noctis able to get away. He's himself back up again. Doesn't quite fix his armor. There we go. Now he's max. Back to healthy.
And in 10 seconds, on top of that Mega, he's going to have the injection. But again, as he collects the Mega, that rail is going to undo every ounce of it. Just look at the stack comparison. Noctis just cannot compete with the sheer difference of health and armor. That's it, right? Small champion.
I mean, if he
versus
can get a fight here, he has got it. A lot of damage coming through, gets a rail, Noctis in deep trouble.
I mean, that injection's not going to save him. He has to get some armor. Oh, no.
Oh, that was some juking by Noctis.
RAISY headed him off, but he zigged when he should have zagged.
That is the definition of outthinking, just to get away.
Either that or they both just, at the same time, when they just guessed wrong on that 50-50.
Oh, wow, turns away right as RAISY goes through.
5 seconds, we're going to be in sudden death, but to be honest, this is a situation where it's last champion regardless, so sudden death isn't going to make a huge difference here. And there we go. Actually, at the last possible minute, Noctis turns it round.
Wow, I actually thought for sure, as soon as I saw some of those acids start to connect, I thought that was going to be RAISY's round for sure, but
his LG was just too strong.
But that's it. You know, there is ticking damage over time through acid, and then there is the sheer damage output of an LG when it really is hitting its mark. But to be fair, that easily could have gone in RAISY's favor. This is nowhere near as one-sided as I think we were expecting.
Oh, definitely. I completely agree with that, because the first round almost suggested that it was going to be very convincing. But to be honest, as the rounds went on and on, they were all pretty close. And ultimately, I know it was a 3-1 result, but each and every one of those rounds beyond round number 1, I mean, they were close. They were hard to call, and RAISY's still looking good.
For sure, and that's kind of what I expect to see going forward. Considering this next map, I believe the next map would have been RAISY's choice. Going into this, at least, I believe.
Yeah, well, it's always going to be sort of top seed underneath that, so Noctis qualified through week 1. So assuming so, indeed, that's the situation.
But we'll see. Well, I guess we'll find out what that's going to be very, very soon. At least champion-wise, I think it's been a mixture of things today, at least in the series. Obviously, both of them running Anarchy, both of them running. So I think it's both Sorlag was kind of the big surprising one here.
I didn't expect to actually see a Sorlag from Noctis. I didn't expect to see a Sorlag from, let alone both of them together, because that's been one big thing that we've noticed throughout the course of the day, is that health is valued. We saw Agent, where instead of going for Clutch, he went Visor. Visor actually has got more health than Clutch. He's got 125 health. Clutch has 100 health. Sorlag, 150 health. Clutch has 100 health. Like now, if you want to go for health, you're kind of like, it almost felt like beforehand, Clutch's health was like, well, if you want health, then just pick him. But now you kind of have more chances to go for different champions for different pieces of utility.
Speaking of different champions, though, Corrupted Keep. Now, one huge thing here is both players' rails were looking insane in that first map, but now no longer going to be a thing. And RAISY going to that Galena instead. Sorlag again, looks like Noctis going back to the tried and true, I suppose. And that's Sorlag and Anarchy. We saw the pairing last time. We're going to see them again.
Got to make an observation. Where on earth has BJ been today?
That's actually a good question, especially on Corrupted Keep. We normally saw Blaskovic all over the shop. However, do you think maybe the predicted decline of Clutch has maybe made him not be picked as much in Corrupted Keep? Because normally we'd see Blaskovic picked as that big, beefy tank shredder. You know, he pops that dual wield, and it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how much health you have, and it's going to absolutely just delete your life.
Are you suggesting that almost like a knock-on effect of adjustments being made to champions like Clutch, the answer of which being BJ Blaskovic to shred the health? Now he's not being picked as much. Blaskovic has less need to be picked on some of these maps.
Perhaps. But even then, like, Blaskovic does bring that unique role to the table in terms of just he is built to kill champions. You pick him because you just want to delete people from their existence when you pop that dual wield, and he still does that well. But obviously he lacks the survivability in terms of like getting out of a fight. He does have that natural regeneration in between, which can be helpful, but oh wow. As quickly as I could say that, we already have a fight breaking out less than 20 seconds into round 1 of the second map.
Using that SMG to try and sort of keep him at bay, but playing it first. That's one really, really sort of cool thing right here, is that he's gone for, I think, early setup of those totems before you get heavily kitted out. Being able to get a couple of uncontested totems is really useful, but here comes the LG, but RAISY scoring first blood.
Yeah, I think Noctis really wanted to just pile himself onto that mega health in that situation just to buff himself back up again so he can continue his fight, but not only did he lose the champion, he also lost the mega health and also the heavy armor to RAISY.
Well, we've seen how dangerous Galena totems can be against Anarchy today. So Anarchy's got to be super careful, especially if he either has no armor or very little armor. Even if you survive a totem that you stand on, your opponent will know that unless you've taken mega health or heavy armor, or even both, you're probably not going to have enough health to want to fight.
Or gets the mega health.
Oh, right before he gets the rocket, goes to the teleport at the last possible second. Just looking to try and fight this. He's in hot pursuit. The LG temporarily pushed him out of the way so he couldn't get heavy armor, but there really wasn't much Noctis could do to prevent him from taking that.
But you have to be careful, right? If you're staying in harm's way to try and deter them away from an item and you're taking all that damage, if you're someone like Anarchy that doesn't have a lot of life to go with, you can quickly regret that decision.
That prediction just challenging him to use the teleporter, but Noctis not biting.
RAISY actually got quite a respectable amount of damage there. Down with the nail gun.
Challenging.
Wow, the totem!
The combo rocket knocked right into the totem the second it was spawned. Galena on this map, she's pretty powerful.
It's working out for him too, let's not forget, he went straight in with the Galena pick as soon as he saw this map was in.
She's definitely
so I assume it was predetermined for sure.
She's definitely a map-specific champion. Core sight. He took a lot of damage while he was sitting there waiting. Tries to go in for die roll, but he doesn't manage to get the mega health.
That was actually 2 of Noctis's champions that he lost due to trying to aggress for that mega health right as it was about to respawn. Unfortunately, it did cost him 2 of his 3 lineup, and a very swift round 1 going to RAISY.
Very much all or nothing decisions, where, I mean, like, if I get this, I'm going to get a frag and be in a great situation, but if I lose it, I am literally dead. It's very brave to make those calls, and Noctis made them twice. So even though he didn't quite work out either time, he is displaying to RAISY that he is not afraid. And if you pardon the expression, he has no fear. But there we go, the acid tick trades it out. That's the strength of Sorlag.
From the grave trade-off, but now we find ourselves in a reverse situation. So now Noctis on the side of Anarchy again. Indeed. All the LG tracking, big old target, hard to miss. Oh, but did step a toe into the acids, now he's going to be able to see him through walls for a little while. Just to know where he's gone.
Yeah, those eyes, all important in that situation when you're so nearly dead. Warcom on the teleport, but there's not going to be any room for him to get away. Noctis gets another frag with the LG. This time around, it's going to be Galena last. Now, this is a complete flip of what we saw, because it was Galena first in round number 1. Put to very good effect also, I might add.
Makes you wonder why RAISY opted to go for the reversal in this round, though, because that was a super strong round 1 on the side of RAISY. Let's not forget the totem did so much damage by itself there anyway.
I think it can heavily depend on what champion you think is going to go first. Because if you predict Anarchy first, totems are going to be great, because an early on Anarchy where he only has 75 health, before he even gets an injection, he will get one-shot by a totem. But then again, if you think he's going to go Sorlag, Sorlag doesn't really have to care as much about them. So in many ways, maybe RAISY is just trying to make a hard read of what champion he thinks Noctis is going to start with.
Maybe he does have quite a lot of this mega health though still going, and the totem in place. RAISY really trying to stop him from just picking up this rocket launcher for free, but Noctis able to sort of thread the needle in between the shots, gets it safely.
Nice amount of ammo to boot too. 22. I've seen a couple of players today actually in really clutch situations. They've actually ran out of rockets at the last possible moment. This is going to be a game that Noctis will try and play if he can. He can afford to be defensive here. I mean, yeah, there's 3 minutes left on the clock, but no one plays a runaway game better than Anarchy at times.
But even then, it's like he's really just determined to wait on this armored location.
RAISY is just being patient. I think he realizes he kind of needs that heavy armor, but if he can stay as hard to see as possible.
Well, he's got all of his weapons, right? You know, he has his machine gun, he's got his rocket launcher, he's got his LG, he's got his nails, so he kind of has all the tools he needs. Was full on health at the time, knew that mega health was nowhere near, so maybe he was just trying to make sure he secured the time on the heavy armor.
Oh! He's taking a bunch of damage now, though. Forced to use a totem just to try and replenish some of that.
But was successfully able to do so, and that's really one of the strengths Galena can bring. That instant self-heal can be so important.
Here comes the trade once more. Mega health and heavy armor. They're spawning simultaneously. It does heavily change the pace of the match when these two pickups appear at the same time.
Maybe that's what RAISY was going for, though. Maybe he really wanted to sync those timers up together.
Yeah, very much could have done that.
Almost like both players just avoiding confrontation right now, but it is in Noctis's favor. He has that time on his side. 2 champions to 1.
Not a single thing happened in between the respawn times of those two. Just took 30 seconds. There we go, he's taking the armor ever so slightly later. So the next time it spawns, you might be able to see a sequence between one or the other.
That's if we have time for it to spawn. But at the same time, it looks like we're not going to be seeing any frags anytime soon here.
Hang on, maybe.
This could be the one, though. This could be the fight.
I mean, wow,
Yeah.
Kind of happened, didn't it? RAISY caught him, LG, no escape, and that's it. Now we're back to an even situation once again.
I actually wonder what it was that Noctis was doing there. I mean, do you think he just did not expect RAISY to come out at that time?
Yeah, maybe not. But now we are drawing closer to that 1 minute warning. But because they're both down to their final champion. Not too much. I'm just looking to do what was just done to him, keeping that high ground. And when you can control this area, it's actually it's difficult for the opponent to sort of gauge where they should retreat.
Might get held up any second now, though. I mean, but this is what we expect to see from RAISY. This Galena is putting in work. It's doing so much by itself.
Dire orbs right into the heavy armor. So now RAISY's in a bit of trouble.
Oh no! Unfortunate self-damage to the rocket, but close enough to the health.
Wasted a bit of time as well. Couple of rockets, but actually minimal damage. 15 and 10. That's nothing.
Yeah, a much slower round than we've seen in this entire series up until now.
It's quite a change of pace from what we've been seeing throughout most of the day, actually, I find. We're seeing lots of rockets, but we're not seeing much damage. Is he looking to change that? Knocks him through the teleport, so he actually has his escape route planned already.
Sudden death. Not that it's going to matter too much now. We are on the next frag wins for quite a while. I think RAISY really kind of, especially after this kind of a grind, really needs this win. A lot of damage coming through. This is Galena stuck in the corner, and it's going to do enough damage with a little bit of splash. And Noctis able to tie things up after a long grind.
I feel like that's a round that RAISY kind of needed, because if you've just gone down one map, and there's a very close scenario here, just for like mental composure, these clutch decisions at the last possible minute, you need to make sure that you can come off better in these exchanges just to stay in the tournament. Because it's not just the matter that RAISY needs to win this map to win, you know, his place into QuakeCon. He needs to win this map just to tie things up 1-1. And then there's an entire map to go after that. A nice chunk of damage initially dealt, but as it is Sorlag, once again, no ticking damage.
Still though, third round and the third champion start for RAISY. So let's go for Sorlag this time. 3 individual times he's cycling it through. Maybe he's trying to keep himself as unpredictable as possible.
All these champions will have very distinct starts. But again, we've gone back. 2 chunky champions. And they can fight for quite a while too. Not just though with a significantly larger amount of armor. And he has RAISY in a bad spot. It's so difficult to escape this scenario, especially when you're getting peppered down by machine gun. I mean, yes, you've not got any rail. With the super nail gun, he's still got 50 nails good to go, each one of them doing 20 damage.
It's more than enough to finish off what NoFear has. There's nothing back there to help him out apart from an LG.
I think he understands he's just going to sit there and wait until he runs out of super nail gun. The second he realized he ran out of ammo, that's when he took his escape. But look at how much damage he's taken to get there in the first place. Yes,
that was actually a really smart runaway as well, though, from RAISY. As soon as he realized that Noctis wasn't quite...
Oh, wow, so much!
What a turnaround! Wow, RAISY went from completely almost guaranteed death to aggression just like that. Noctis lost his Sorlag immediately.
Gotta say, really well placed acid spit. I'm pretty sure almost every single, he got fragged right there, I know, but almost every single individual spit landed in 25 damage.
But that was the deciding factor by how much damage he actually survived with health-wise there. We'll find ourselves back to Shades of the first map now. We go from mirror to mirror, Sorlag to Anarchy.
Anarchy on this map I find to be super efficient because it's not only his ability to just run around the map really quickly because of its size, but those grounded rockets are a little bit harder to hit on him in those sort of close scenarios. Not really too much of an issue right there because RAISY goes down, but the rocket is your highest damaging weapon on Corruptive Keep. And when he's going for his jumping sequences, the ground rockets don't really do as much damage to him because he's just not on the ground as much at all for it to count.
Very tanky Anarchy though coming out from Noctis. Heavy armor on deck, has to be really careful.
It feels like right now RAISY is saving. Now he's got a totem right there just trying, as there is distance spread between, but kind of like he was saving it. There's a lot of versatility with when you go for that totem. You can set up with it, trying to almost catch someone off guard as they go around a tight corner. But at the same time, in many ways, it can just be a free health refill.
There's that prediction rocket, Noctis avoid the damage. Heavy armor now, a tanky Anarchy coming through. This could be dangerous to deal with.
Oh, almost goes head first into that one, but I think there's a level of awareness here. The second Noctis actually catches sight of a totem, he shoots it immediately. And he actually almost run into that one too.
Well, usually on certain maps, you have to be careful when you choose to destroy those totems, because it's going to let the Galena player know where you are. On a small map like Corrupted Keep, where you can basically get from point A to point B faster than other maps, it doesn't really matter if they see you destroy them as much, just because you just don't have as much room to run away with anyway. The last thing you want to do is run around, even then on a small map like this, into just a totem that you easily could have destroyed.
Talking about running away, we're verging the point where it's a minute and a half left. And it's Anarchy once again. Still alive. The champion advantage.
It's not even just a champion advantage. Noctis is up in the series. He has a map on the board over RAISY right now, so if he can win on this timeout, I mean, that's going to be 2 long rounds back to back.
Caught off guard, but he picks up a Mega. Right now, though, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to keep him alive. RAISY trying to almost head him off, doing sufficient damage to try and trade out that heavy. Oh,
100 damage.
Direct 100. That was an amazing rocket. Going in for the injection, but while he's in the injection, he's stuck in the animation. And he's now got that lifeline. That was a crucial
kind of
frag.
fumbled that a little bit, went for that injection, wasn't able to fight anymore. And RAISY took full advantage and did so much damage.
Oh, even though he gives himself full health on that injection, you're still stuck in the actual injection animation. So if you're getting trailed by that lightning gun and you pop your injection, that's just going to be free, uncontested damage you can't fight back for.
Oh, more damage adding up. Heavy armor goes in the way of him too. Totem there sustaining him. Noctis looking pretty vulnerable at the moment.
Seeing as he had an LG out as well, I mean, he had to make a choice. Do I go for the totem or do I go for Galena? He didn't really have the option of going for both at once. Oh, I'm almost connected. Has got a dire orb though. Noctis can play one good rocket.
Wow.
That was almost it.
I almost felt that one. Teleport through. All the heavy armor gets picked up. That could have been dangerous.
I think he was just happy waiting for the heavy armor. Just getting out there.
Self-sustain though. That totem is going to have it for a little while yet though. Fortunately, sudden death is initiated. Next frag is going to take the round.
We've very much gone back to the previous round, and it's another close one. But if RAISY loses 2 of these sudden deaths back to back, then that's going to be
a bit of a
quite
morale killer,
yeah,
right?
That's a test of mental composure.
Will the dire orb does he teleport? Yes, he does. Noctis quickly realized how much damage he was taking, but NoFear still lower on life. Does Noctis think he's going to go for the armor here?
He's in trouble here because there is no Mega, and it's not going to be up for a long time. So if Noctis catches him now, he just has the advantage in health, and that's just as simple as that.
He's going to know he's low, but again, you have to be so careful chasing Galena anywhere because she might be trying to lead you back into a totem that she is cheekily put somewhere.
I feel like in a lot of these occasions, Noctis is actually... He is going around the corner, and there is always a totem there, but he just never walks into it.
He's got that awareness, he knows to watch out for. You are against Galena. It's fair to assume there's going to be a few totems somewhere you probably don't expect them. That is kind of the point.
1 minute into sudden death already. Similar stack. If Noctis wins this round...
I think is that the last time we saw this kind of standoff, it resulted in Noctis kind of just being walked at an LG. I imagine the same thing will happen this time. Maybe he just got caught not concentrating last time, but we are going to have to see a bit of a return.
Well, this is Quake. If you make even the smallest mistake, or you get caught slipping by half a second, you could lose an entire game on that.
Does he follow through the teleporter? That will be death if he does, but...
Looks very reluctant to do so. Maybe even just playing with time, expecting Noctis to just spin. He actually managed to do it. Wait long enough for Noctis to potentially get out of there. So the rocket.
Now there's that tried and true. Do I pick it up or do I just aim at it waiting for them to go for it? Looks like RAISY wanted no part of that Mega Health whatsoever.
But again, just content with the trade. Content with that trade towards Heavy and Mega, respectively. But again, this is such a close, tense scenario. Whoa! That one just zipping past his face. Both players have their ability too. So if RAISY takes a little bit of rocket damage, you can replenish it very comfortably with the totem. Noctis has the damage output of that dire orb, the escape ability.
Look at the stack though, the Mega Health. RAISY's going to concede this health. Armo's going to go in for the fight. Doing some damage, but Noctis able to get away. Very timid round here at the end.
I think it's because there can be so much on the line. You just don't want to overextend by half a second, because that could be it. That could be the deciding factor between going to QuakeCon and not being in there at all.
Oh wow, what a prediction rocket from RAISY.
But no rail to follow up. Going in for a rocket instead, expecting RAISY to chase the teleporter. Does just that. And even though he got a good rocket there, because Noctis collected the Mega, they pretty much just traded the damage outright. 3 minutes into this sudden death. How long will this continue?
This is an 8-minute round and counting.
Might be over here, Noctis. Looking to try and chase this one. Trying to get a gauge. Big rocket. A long time until Galena gets access to another totem, even with the health pickups. And that Mega, it's going to shave off a chunky 8 seconds off the cooldown. But even though we see these exchanges, just look at the health, look at the armor. Both players still ready to fight.
Well, that really is how this can go. We find ourselves in a very stalemate situation, but all it takes is a few seconds for this to end.
Noctis would have heard the totem, so he's going to know, yeah. Doesn't even need to hear it, he can just clearly see 2 of them, but he knows that, again, it's going to be a while before NoFear has another totem, roughly around another 15 seconds or so.
I assume the totems have a big part as to why this match has been slowed down the way it has.
Well, I think Noctis watched a couple of games ago. He doesn't want to run into a totem during sudden death, because that can be a real morale killer. Oh, but again, they're just trading it back and forth.
But as soon as you have the lack of a rail, you can see how different the matches can be played. But you don't have that clean source of AE damage from full range.
It's the benefit that Galena doesn't need going... Actually, we'll talk about this in a second. There's another fight. Noctis is incredibly weak. That is a heavily fortified Mega Health. It's going to be risky for Noctis to try and push the advantage down the bottom. I mean, if he gets caught in a position and tries to run away, he risks jumping straight into him. 100 damage, and no! The Dire Orb doesn't connect in time. And it was actually on target as well, but he died before it had a chance to reach him.
And after almost a 9-minute round, RAISY is able to bring that one back. I actually think, had RAISY lost that round, it would have been game. It would have been 2-1. It would have been 2-1, sure, in Noctis' favor, but still, to lose 2 overtimes back-to-back in that fashion, that would have just been the ultimate killer. But RAISY able to actually bring himself together, but loses his Anarchy immediately. Noctis, immediately with a change of pace.
That's definitely something you can do. Caught a good spawn. But RAISY, super close to the LG, so in many ways it's not the end of the world, especially when you're both Sorlag. Trying to head him off.
But after that, though, after the grind that was those last 2 rounds, RAISY finds himself 1 round away from just evening this series up 1 map apiece. That could be crucial for him. But obviously Noctis is here to stop him from doing that. This was predicted to be a swift 2-0 for Noctis, but RAISY is making him work for it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, on the verge of tying things up. He just has to win this 1 round. It's going to be easier said than done when you're 1 champion down. But if he gets the round, it's going to be completely reset.
Oh, so much damage from below. Acid is spent on both of them.
Whose LG is going to be superior? They're so close in health.
Still though, RAISY was able to get hold of that Mega Health, so it's an instant top-up, whereas Noctis had to work towards the heavy armor.
Yeah, a couple of small health pickups and then the heavy armor. The LG battle again.
I mean, last time they fought for that LG, it was a complete stalemate again. Instantly though, the 5-minute timer not looking too long after the last round.
Here comes Noctis. Once more. Doesn't want to overextend, but look at how weak RAISY currently is. If he gets caught in any degree, Noctis has him.
But a swift pickup on the heavy armor though. Immediately back to full armor, I should say. It's going to do wonders to keep him alive.
Because if you're RAISY and you lose a champion right now, which he might do, the Acid as well, and now he's in a bit of trouble. He has to make a complete 3 straight comeback in this round. Otherwise, it's going to be match point for Noctis.
That's the diversity. We had a 9-minute round with almost no frags towards the very end. Now in 2 minutes, we have 2 on the board for Noctis already.
Even then, it's going to be Galena, but the strength of Galena in that previous round came from just how well she can fortify certain rooms with how many totems that he had ready to go. In this situation, because he is not only down by 1, but 2 champions. So holding up shop, defending a certain location, I mean, Noctis realistically has no reason to come to RAISY. RAISY needs to come to him.
Especially when you're down 2 champions, that's not even a slight advantage, that is a significant advantage.
Heavy armor is going to make Noctis just all that much more harder to kill. Armor completely almost gone now, indeed armor gone.
Totem gets destroyed immediately, Noctis not even giving it a chance to get any form of damage or hitting at all. Wow, catches him on the corner. Yeah, RAISY was not ready for him to jump at him like that. The Acid comes through. Did any of it connect? No.
If that connected, RAISY would have been in danger.
Well, for anything, he wouldn't have died to the damage over time, but it would let Noctis know exactly where he was. Speed has been brought up. Always behind him. He's going in for the kill.
Here comes a super speedy Sorlag, and RAISY just gets completely wiped.
Looks like as soon as he opts to go towards that just aggression, as soon as he starts to rush him down, RAISY does seem to struggle. RAISY definitely seems to prefer that long game, I think, when he really has just the ability to slow it down and force him to play at his own pace. But here comes Noctis just throwing a bit of a spanner in the works again.
The danger here is that Noctis spawned on heavy armor. And if you're both the same champion and you've got a nice amount of health by pure default, of which Sorlag does, armor is going to be infinitely more useful than 1v1.
Hit that LG battle once again though, but NoFear has been winning it quite convincingly that time actually. Noctis does a bit of armor left, but RAISY, so much damage.
RAISY definitely just shooting better in that exchange. And they have both gone. I did not expect them to both go Sorlag first so consistently. Especially seeing as RAISY had
so much damage coming through again.
Really not well played there.
RAISY has been on point with hitting the impact damage of those assets though. I mean, we've seen the Sorlag versus Sorlag a lot, but RAISY is the one that's consistently hitting the sheer amount of damage from that alone. He's going in for the kill. Noctis gets taken down, and RAISY, with plenty of health left to spare, gets a very strong first champion down.
He's caught a really good spawn there on Noctis too.
Can't do anything with it. He did a lot of damage, but it looks like Noctis has managed to get away.
Going to be too risky for Noctis trying to seize and control that heavy armor. We've just heard that mega health, but with no armor, mega health and anarchy isn't a huge deal, especially when you're Sorlag with this level of stack. Caught him on the jump pad, and there we go. RAISY looking to tie things up. All he has to do now is get one more champion. Noctis has to make a 3 straight champion comeback.
Actually, looks like RAISY might be able to take the map at this rate. Still waiting for that heavy armor, but let's not forget this was actually predicted to be a 2-0 sweep for Noctis, and we are actually quite convincing looking to be a 1-1 at the very least. Misses all of his acid, but is it going to matter? No, it will not. Noctis goes down a map, which means it's now going to be 1-1. And there it is, all tied up after that. I mean, that was probably the longest corrupted keep that I think we've seen in a long time.
Just came down to Sorlag really was the unsung hero of that match. Like, just absolutely completely. Because it was the damage output of the acid. Even though it was Sorlag versus Sorlag, the ticking damage didn't even matter. The acid spit in itself does so much damage. And then you combine it with the fact that Sorlag, she kept her 150 health. She's still got 100 armor. Like, she is still a very, very healthy champion when you're fully stacked up.
And that's how much you can take. You know, but as soon as you have a map that has no rail, and all of a sudden, normally surviving 3 rails is kind of the big one, and now that isn't even that, and the damage you're taking is just rocket damage or LGs, and it can take you that long to get shredded down. I mean, this champion, we actually kind of predicted this might happen this weekend with sort of, I don't want to say the downfall of Clutch, but Clutch being adjusted in the way he was, that has made him not quite as overbearing to deal with in a 1v1 situation. Still obviously powerful, we've seen him do good things today alone, but Sorlag might have had a chance to sort of shine through the cracks of what Clutch used to do, and this could be a good example of that.
Well, we said in week number 4, you know, many champions like Anarchy or Scalebearer, old and busted. Clutch, new hotness.
And it's very Clutch small. Now old and busted.
In no time at all, people have already turned their back. It's now Clutch that is old and busted, and it's Sorlag that is the new hotness.
So it's like
what
Clutch.
Happened? Just what happened there? It's a matter of, clearly, health is a huge deal. That lack of 50 is significant enough for so many of these players to go, you know what? I still would quite like to be a champion that has a bit more than that. Because really, you're still going to have a chunky hitbox. So if you've got a massive hitbox and you're easy to hit, and you've lost all of that, then I mean, it's still going to be a little bit risky. Many of these players, I mean, this is the cream of the crop in EU. They know how to hit rails, they know how to lightning gun effectively. And if you've got a big hitbox, probably the biggest in the game, it's kind of risky to take that. But looking like a complete copy of what we saw last time. Noctis again going with, actually he's gone Nyx this time round, which I'm not surprised to see because she's also very, very strong on Blood Run. No Ranger at all on Blood Run though. You don't see that every day.
This is probably the first time we haven't seen a Ranger on this map in a long ass time. But it's kind of like, you have Galena on Blood Run particularly, where she is already popular on this map. Less so Corrupted Keep, and that did slip out. I didn't mean to say that. I do apologize.
I think I had to just double. I mean, I don't want to bring attention to it. I just thought I just need to.
I feel like it's worth bringing attention to now. You know what I mean?
Anyway, you were saying.
I was saying. Galena on Blood Run is really the one we see her the most on. But Corrupted Keep, definitely not so much. kind of up and down. We sort of saw her a lot earlier on, and today a surprising amount actually. But Blood Run is Galena's like special map for sure.
I mean, back in the day, it was almost a surprise to see that, but now, I mean, it's just as staple as any of the other map-specific champions. But here we go again. Both players once more, both saw lag.
But this really is a mirror that we just don't get to see too often at all. I mean, Solag like this immediately isn't that common of a champion we see a lot of the time, but let alone matched into herself.
It used to be on... The thing here is that it used to be Solag was a very popular champion for this map because so much fighting takes place in the middle, of which right now is going to be near a rocket launcher. But the middle of the map is so popular for fights, she just denies almost all of it. And there we go, Noctis with 10 HP remaining. I mean, I'll be able to finish my sentence, I'm sure, eventually. But not even that, there's actually another fight already. Another fight goes down, and within less than a minute's time, 2 champions already gone.
From 9-minute rounds to 2 frags in less than a minute. This is Quake champions, and this is how fast they can go back and forth. Oh, wow! Almost run straight into the rocket.
Anarchy on this map also, he has so much room to navigate. Nyx, highly effective. She's got that survivability, but these small twists and turns. And it's very difficult to see in here when she activates Ghost Walk. So using the Ghost Walk as like an assassination, very popular on this map.
Oh, unfortunately, he hits himself with the rocket on the way down. That's not something you want to be seeing, but still. This is that Anarchy sort of special thing, right? When they really just, they run around, they try and stop themselves up, they take the damage when they can, but it's not going to happen too often. And when it does, it's going to be like a sporadic, quick 2 or 3 second fight, and then they get out of it. Oh, he's gone back up. Yeah, now he's gone back away. So much going on. It's that's the really sort of typical fight location, going in for the injection, but is it enough to get away? Wow, Noctis absolutely just barely surviving there thanks to the injection, but is able to survive. I mean, literally playing with fire, staying that close and using the injection that late. He did manage to slip away. Oh, he's been caught in the corner here. He might die for sure. There we go. RAISY's going to take that one down. Now it's going to be Anarchy versus Nyx. This is that week 1 signature 1v1.
Completely. There was a point where Anarchy and Nyx, they were just completely staple for every comp. Now here we are, the 1v1. There was no way RAISY saw Noctis being invisible there either. Noctis just needs one good rocket, but unfortunately doesn't manage to secure enough to get the frag. Actually seen minimal rail so far. Very little rail.
Haven't really had the opportunity to do so at the moment. I think these fights have been point blank, which is usually a range you have to be very careful opting to go for the rail for. Oh, that would have been it.
But they're both still so weak. RAISY having to go for a slightly slower approach.
Oh, what a reaction from RAISY to take down Noctis as soon as he just appeared again.
Wow, round 1 does go to RAISY, looking really strong. The turnaround has been phenomenal.
This has been an amazing day for RAISY. Starting off strong, going through here, now finds himself 2 rounds away from pulling off the upset and taking down Noctis here, sending Noctis to lose his bracket. And RAISY actually are qualifying for the World Championships at QuakeCon. Over Noctis and winner's side?
This would be a humongous result for him. Not only that, but riding so much momentum going into QuakeCon itself, knowing that the talent you've been able to best. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. He still needs to secure
still 2 rounds left to go. But I mean, if he can still play like this, we didn't even get to see his Galena last time, and that was one of his most impressive champions, especially on Corrupted Keep before.
And we cannot forget his opponent indeed is still Noctis. Still a mountain to climb.
So the RAISY showing the knowledge. You know, he's got the trick jumps, he's got the accuracy, and he has the awareness.
Noctis doing damage, but I just don't think it's been enough. Just look at the difference in health. No wonder Noctis tries to get out of there, but RAISY, looking to head him off, does manage to do it. Does also manage to get enough damage on the LG to tag him once more.
But Noctis has lost his Sorlag again. We find ourselves with RAISY on this Sorlag versus Anarchy. We've seen how quickly she can just melt poor little champions and catches him on a jump pad. RAISY deletes him, and now Nyx is left alone again.
This is just
no way, no way.
But Noctis, he's been forced to escape, but he just hasn't got any health at all. Peppering that. I mean, if you go down the teleporter now, you are landing in acid, my friend.
Noctis now gets seen. He's been seen at a shotgun on the way down. Death from above. and RAISY is on match point over sending Noctis to losers bracket, but more importantly, qualifying for the Quake World Championship.
Oh, Sorlag is a hunter. Just going straight down, super shotgun. I mean, that's one way to do it. But this is
quite a big round. It's a change in pace, it's a change in map, it's the same composition, but RAISY has just been playing out of his mind, out of nowhere. It's like a light switch. He's just flicked it on, and now he is playing just so much more on point.
I mean, sometimes it just sets home, and reality strikes of just how much you have to play for. And right now, that very much happened here. Not to count out Noctis. The danger Noctis finds himself now, though, is that he has no choice but to make a 3 straight comeback. He can't give up any more rounds, otherwise it's game over. And they've both gone Sorlag first again. Oh, that is just absolutely 2 massive, just right in. For head first. That was brutal.
That was also a suicide via nail gun. You do not see that often. That little bit of self-damage you do when you're point blank to someone. I mean, I can't remember the last time we actually saw a nail gun do a suicide like that.
I think that was the most violent trade I think I've ever seen in this game.
But it has meant that RAISY is now 1 champion closer to getting that qualification over Noctis once we find ourselves Anarchy versus Anarchy.
I mean, that is very much only going to be a good trade for RAISY, because he's the one riding this momentum. He's the one that already has 2 rounds. Now Noctis he's already lost a champion, you know? In this situation, RAISY can afford to lose a champion because he's got rounds to work with. Noctis does not have the same luxury.
All he knows is there. 2 rockets don't quite hit the mark. LG damage is coming through, but RAISY has the space to get back if he wants to. Noctis has no armor to work with.
That's the danger. Even though he's got his injection, 1 rail will take him out. Even after the injection, still 1 rail will take him out. We've seen very little rail this entire map. I don't think I've actually seen rail used as little as it has been used in this map.
I think so. I mean, I guess we're just not finding ourselves in a situation that it is being as useful as usual. Well, these fights being point blank in these tight corridors where if you do miss a rail at that range, you're almost asking to die.
A level of passiveness he just has to try and approach here. 1 wrong move with only 2 more champions. That could be 1 mistake or 2 at a push. That's all you have left. And there we go! RAISY gets a rail as well! The combo kill to allow it. Noctis, he's in danger here. He's only got Nyx. His comeback must come from Nyx.
It's going to be Nyx versus a Galena as well, if he can actually manage to take down RAISY's Anarchy. But even that's been quite difficult. He might get a hit. Yes, he does. And now it's going to be Galena versus Nyx. I mean, this really is all or nothing.
But how do you recover?
He needs to try. If Noctis gets this frag, it's going to be just 1 round on the board, but the comeback will have begun.
Oh, 1 rail! That's definitely a good start. RAISY, very weak.
Oh, he missed the jump.
Misses the jump towards Heavy.
But he wasn't punished for it. He actually got away with it.
Given another chance, takes damage beforehand, knocked straight down and chased down. Noctis survives for now.
Noctis is not dead yet. He is still here. Gets the first round now. We saw a comeback like this begin earlier, but unfortunately didn't quite work out. Are we going to see it finish now?
If Noctis manages to somehow just steal this one away, it would be remarkable.
Point on the gauntlet. Is that connecting?
Oh, the last second, 1 bullet in that fight. 1 bullet.
And considering Noctis started that fight with a gauntlet out as well, that could have been dangerous, but Noctis able to top himself back up a little bit now, at least. Definitely still not what I'd call healthy, but definitely getting there.
There are some Quake players out there that would say, when in doubt, gauntlet out. That was one of those situations. Anarchy versus Sorlag again. I mean,
it looks like Noctis is just waiting for these pickups to come back. Yeah, the health and both armors before he's comfortable going out again. Makes sense for sure. The problem is he actually hasn't got much in terms of weaponry at his disposal now, and RAISY is fully stocked up. He has all the weapons he could need.
But even with this stack, even with the heavy armor, if he gets caught point blank by Noctis, who hits 1 rocket and then a couple of sprays of the acid and then tick damage, Anarchy will still die here. Even with the injection, if he can catch him mid-injection.
You can see, again, RAISY trying to slow this one down again. I mean, obviously waiting for the mega health.
Noctis has not moved from that location in quite a while. Anyway, he's still here. He's been here the whole time.
And still only has LG and nail gun.
But if he's got a super nail gun, then he's point blank and he can't miss. That's a lot of damage.
This is a bit of a long shot. I can't imagine it's the case, but do you think he actually is trying to stall here for about 5 minutes to just run this clock down a little bit? I can't imagine so.
I don't think so.
Oh, none of those connected, but the injection is popped at least. So actually trading ability for ability there.
Trading ability for ability is going to be...
Wow!
What a shot! Okay, that was just out of nowhere.
But that's the kind of shot you expect to see from someone like Noctis, who's been playing as often, as long as he has.
I mean, Noctis is a legend in his own right. He's been in tournaments before many, many times. He's had this stress.
But one champion away from tying things up after being down so significantly. One champion away from evening things out in swift fashion.
But now RAISY, instead, going towards Mega. Is he going to take the fight at Mega? Is he even going to risk Mega?
Oh, I can imagine that totem's going to disappear.
Well, that's going to give him good. That's just going to give him good data that Noctis was not at the time not near Mega, but they head off, and no, Noctis is collected. They're going in with a spray, cannot survive, and we're down to the last possible round. Noctis is turning this one around. Can he finish it?
I mean, Noctis got that one champion win with just Sorlag, who barely survived the first encounter by 5 health. That round could have been completely different. He had one more bullet been on the mark.
This is Quake Champions. This is absolutely what Quake is all about.
He's looking a little bit stronger though, so to get a little bit of damage. Oh, he got caught out. Noctis is behind him. Still has a chunky amount of health left though.
Acid spray down for a long time.
Noctis still has his too. If he can catch him point blank, this could be very dangerous.
This is, I mean, even though this is just the beginning of the round, it is unbelievably tense.
And he's just got the heavy armor though, yeah. So he's going to be a lot more healthy here in this fight. Oh, so much acid! Wow, melted!
Dissolved into nothing. Just with so much health. Caught a good spawn on Anarchy as well. RAISY needs to get out of there. He is not equipped to deal with this fight.
But if Noctis can find him early, if he can get some armor on the board and just get in his face, that's not a situation RAISY wants to be in, as Noctis has just been commanding that point-blank close quarters fight. Oh.
Rocket missing by a hair's length.
Oh no! RAISY fumbled the jump again! He didn't get towards Heavy! That was such a mistake! That one missed jump cost him heavy armor and lost him Anarchy, and now he is forced to do a full comeback now with one champion, but Noctis at no point has gone into low health in this final round.
We said earlier that one small mistake could cost you everything. How about fumbling a jump towards heavy armor and not getting it at all?
That could be disastrous. It all depends on how RAISY plays this. He has at least 3 minutes left on the clock. He has time to work with. But still, what a mountain to climb and to make this comeback, to get Noctis, who is fully stacked on a champion that has been a massive headache to deal with over the last couple of rounds.
With Acid ready to go at a moment's notice.
I mean, a totem can only heal you for so much, point blank, and it's his Galena. The movement options aren't quite there to get you out of a fight.
I mean, he barely even needed that Mega. Just taking it away from RAISY is the objective.
But let's not say it's impossible. We have seen comebacks happen before.
It would be remarkable, but you can never count it out. Try and take damage when he can get it, but unfortunately as each rail connects, he will just be more and more behind. The more behind he is, he has to retreat, stack back up. That takes time, and with almost like 3.5 minutes left, time is not on his side at all.
Noctis knows he's here. Oh, didn't quite pick it up. But again, denying that mega health. I mean, how do you make a comeback if all these crucial pickups are just being taken away from you?
I mean, in some ways, you would think he needs to try and challenge it to pick it up himself, and that's a comeback. But against a Sorlag with this much stack, and again, the ability ready to go, it is so difficult to do.
Oh. Chunky damage rocket coming through. Noctis, as he chase this down, he knows he's done a lot of damage. He's going in for the kill. He knows he has enough damage, and Noctis makes the comeback in the last match.